saying, "Where is my golden arm?" He got out of bed to make sure. He looked out towards the road. He could hardly see it from his window. It was so dark out, but the wind carried a voice saying, "Where is my golden arm?" He went to the door to listen, to be sure, and he heard it. "Where is my golden arm?"
Hey everybody, this is Dave K, and I'm going to be doing one of these horror therapy things for Mr. Bleeding Critic. I've been putting this one off for a long time because I wasn't exactly sure, what I was going to talk about, and I wasn't really exactly sure what I really needed to, what kind of idea I had to come up with. And then once I watched other people's, I realized, man, I'm out of my element here. And I'll tell you why. I basically really don't believe in paranormal stuff in that sense. And I have an uneasiness about it maybe. And that would stem from a few things, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Maybe why I feel the way that I do. But it all stems from when I was a child, pretty much. And I used to get these ghost story records we had these library scholastic book sales, and this was back in the 70s. So it was vinyl, it was records, and they were on troll records. And if you were about my age, about 50 or maybe between 45 and 50, you probably owned a couple of them at least. I had all four of them. And it took me a while to get them, but when I was a kid, my mother gave me money, and used to listen to these records over and over again in the dark and scared the crap out of it. So all this stuff about ghosts and spirits and dead, and all that kind of stuff and weird stuff like that used to freak me out just to no end. So I would always think that there would be these things, even though as I got older, I truly didn't believe in it. So it was a little unnerving, and that's, part of why I can't even listen to those records, even in the daylight sometimes, they freak me so much. And it gets me thinking about the time, the town that I grew up in, Linden, New Jersey, we had very, very famous cemeteries. And I was definitely afraid of them because, it's just, place where, final resting place and all that kind of stuff. And if you look up Linden, New Jersey, and you look up the cemeteries, you'll find out about, we have some famous tombstones there. One in particular is a Mercedes-Benz, which is a full-size tombstone. And it's pretty crazy. Plus, what I was going to tell you about, a little bit of a confession, and why I really would never go into a cemetery at night ever again. About 1990, and this was about 27 years ago, a bunch of friends of mine, actually a couple of friends and their friends, decided one night that we were going to go into this one cemetery there. I think it was Rose Hill. I'm not sure exactly which one, but it was the one on the one side of Route 109, not the one that you get in on Linden Avenue. So the place is huge, and we went in the dead of winter at night. Now, in order to get into the cemetery, since there's a big fence around the whole thing, and it's totally illegal to do this, we had to climb over the fence, or some of us went under the fence. There was a place to do it. And of course, we go into the cemetery, and the main reason is this one guy wanted to show this girl what they called the creepy girl, which was this tombstone. And some of the old tombstones used to have these little pictures of the dead person, and apparently if you look at it in the light at the right time, the moonlight or whatever kind, it would have a sort of a weird thing that made it look really, really creepy. If looking at dead people from like 1800 wasn't creepy enough in the picture. So what we did was we had to go find this thing, and it's pitch black. It was a clear night, so there was a lot of moonlight and stuff. So as we're going through, we're constantly freaked out because you never know, right? Even though I didn't believe in it, you never know, right? So, of course, my friend tells us to stop. And we're thinking, what's he doing? He's like, we gotta get out of here. I'm like, what do you mean we gotta get out? Okay, well, let's get out of here. He said, no, we really gotta get out of here or we're gonna get arrested. So basically, instead of worrying about dead people and, spirits and stuff like that, here we are in the middle of this huge, massive cemetery, which is not easy to find your way around at night. Luckily, this guy was there all the time. He used to go sneak in and out. So the problem was, in order to get to where we needed to go, we had to go through a lot of old parts of the cemetery and hide behind tombstones. Now, this is where I started getting freaked out, because this is where, to this day, I won't go into a cemetery at night. Basically, we'd be crawling onto the ground, basically, to get to certain parts, just so we can run, like, fast as possible, because there's spotlights and everything, and people are, like, kind of like, go, like we're all freaking out. We're trying to stay quiet at the same time. It took about a half hour or so, maybe even more. I can't remember exactly the time. But we finally got out of there onto the other side, and we were like, the whole time he was saying stuff. I was like, I'm not jumping into no open grave. And he's like, and there were open holes, ready to go. So it was a very busy cemetery, and, it really can freak you out. So basically, not so much the paranormal stuff, but it's kind of like, listening to the ghost stories and thinking, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are ghosts. But, and I do get entertained by some of the other people that are really into it, and they can discuss it in a really logical manner. So that's my little horror therapy session, freaked out. And it's still, the funny thing is, this day I go photograph cemeteries, but I only do it during the day. So I hope, Bleeding Critic, I hope this is good. I don't know. I don't want to disappoint you or anything, and, but like I said, who knows if there are ghosts or not.